Hey, microphones are pretty great things. Whether you're recording a video, streaming, making a podcast, or recording voiceover, it's a fantastic tool that helps you express yourself from the comfort of your own home. And over the past 5 years, the quality of budget microphones has skyrocketed to the point that you can try your hand at one without needing to spend an arm and a leg. See what I did there? One such company in this budget category is Fifine, and they asked me to review their K688, this microphone right here, which is one of their leading budget-friendly microphones. So I'll be putting it through its paces and comparing it to the microphones I have on hand so you can get a better idea of not only how this thing performs on its own, but how it performs to other budget-friendly microphones. I'll have this video divided into chapters, so feel free to jump around, scrub through it, do whatever you gotta do if you're looking for very specific information on this microphone. Also, I want to apologize if there's any background noise being heard. I recently had to downgrade computers, and so I thought I could manually turn off the fans on my old laptop. Apparently, it said, screw you, we're going to be on anyways if it gets too hot, so if you hear any background noise, it's just that. It's not something I can control. I do apologize for that. To get some housekeeping out of the way, they sent me this product for free, so I'm not out any money to review this, but they have no creative input or input at all on the video, and they're not seeing it before it gets uploaded. All opinions are my own, and I'll leave some affiliate links down below in case anything in this video inspired you to make a purchase. Affiliate links help support myself and the channel, so if you do like this video and you want to make a purchase on something that's linked below, consider using those links to do it. The K688 does come with a pre-mounted shock mount that seems to be permanently affixed. I don't think you can take this off. I'm seeing a few screws in there, to be honest. So yeah, let's call this a permanent shock mount, and it comes with a windscreen pre-installed, which it's actually, to the touch, is a lot softer and more like felty than the windscreens that I have from previous microphones. Like, for example, yeah, there we go. I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but this is much foamier. This is something that I got from my Stellar X2 and my Stellar X3 versus the one right here. In my opinion, where this is designated as a budget-friendly multi-purpose microphone, I think having USB-C and XLR cable connections is fantastic. It allows people to start on a strict budget if they need to, and then when they eventually move on to an XLR setup, they don't need to worry about buying a new microphone. Another feature that I'm happy to see included is a gain knob. Now, when I was just starting out with voiceover stuff and going with a USB mic before I upgraded to an XLR setup, I had the Samson Meteor. Now, this microphone is a more budget-oriented USB mic than this one, and it did not have a gain knob, which made it very interesting for a young me's learning curve, figuring out how to go to my computer's device settings and manually reducing the input, because that thing peaked every time you tried to use it if you didn't preemptively lower the input volume. On top of the gain knob, there's also an audio jack if you want to plug in headphones, and a volume knob for direct monitoring back to those headphones, which, a nice touch, just something I wanted to just mention is there before moving on to the next part that I'd like that they included, which is a touch-activated mute button. So it's not a physical button that you press, it's actually just a tap, if you will. So just to showcase what it is, it probably is giving a little bit of audible feedback of me touching the microphone. Just so you know, I am just trying to showcase how simple it is. There's no like click or anything too, and in 99% of use cases, if you're like talking to friends, streaming, whatever, you need to quickly mute your mic, is that simple, and it's that quick, it's that easy. When it comes to showcasing the quality of a microphone, I'm a big proponent of show, not tell. So rather than just saying, great microphone, go buy, I am going to just present unedited audio and talk and go through different situations to give you guys as much raw data on how this microphone will perform on its own and compare it to other microphones that I have that are around its price range and one that's a little higher than its price range, just again to give you guys a better idea of how this is actually performing and stacking up to other microphones than I would ever be able to just say. So to start, I am going with just a USB cable. This is not the XLR setup, and I am in an untreated space. That's why when I raise my voice and like talk with a little more oomph to it, you're gonna be hearing some reflection, some echo. You can tell that my voice is bouncing off the walls and coming back. I have my vocal booth right next to me that we will be transitioning over to in time to give you guys an idea of how this will sound in a treated space. But right now, just at your desk for if you want to do this for gaming, streaming, this is a good example of an untreated space. This is the situation I've been using to talk throughout the entirety of the video, so I think you guys have a pretty good idea of how the USB connection does in an untreated environment. Now that we're in a treated space, I have no walls that I'm going to be bouncing off of. I am completely surrounded by either mass-loaded vinyl and rug or audio blankets. So here is a great example of a well-treated home recording setup. If you guys want to see more information on the actual booth I have a video for that. I'll link it down below. But otherwise, here is essentially what you can expect to get from this microphone if you're trying to use it with the USB, of course, in a treated space. Now, one thing I am interested to hear is the bass effect. As I get closer to this microphone, I apologize for all the mouth sounds you're inevitably going to hear, but as with most microphones, as you get closer, it's really going to bring out the bass in your voice. Now, I'm going to bring it back a little bit now, just so you have a decent understanding of how things will change, because with just about every microphone on the market, if you want to be a little bassier in your recording, or you see someone that the way they record in some of their videos, it really brings that bassiness out of them, they're usually probably pretty close to the microphone when they do it. Now, one thing that I don't often see when it comes to actually reviewing microphones is that no one really sings in them. Most microphones are marketed, at least to an extent, for musical purposes, and I don't see too many mic reviews where people are singing. So, at the expense of my own dignity, here we go. I've got a lot of Has Been Hotel on the mind because that came out recently, and as of recording, episodes 5 and 6 are dropping in a few hours. So I've just, a lot of that's on my mind. I'm tempted to do something with that, but nothing is perfectly in my range. So, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. There was a time when I thought no one could relate to the gruesome ways in which I'm damaged. But letting walls down, it can sometimes set you straight. We're all living in the same shit sandwich. 'Cause baby, you're like lightning in a bottle. I can't let you go now that I've got it. And all I need is to be struck by your electric love. Baby, your electric love. Electric love. One cool thing I did actually just realize about this microphone as I was doing the switcheroo over here is that if you have the XLR and the USB-C plugged in at the same time, you can record them both separately as different audio inputs. So I have them actually both recording right now. I have the USB-C and the XLR. And one cool thing is that we are officially making that switch from USB-C to XLR in 3, 2, 1. We are now solely recording in XLR. That is just such a, like, what you're hearing now is officially switched over from USB-C to XLR, which I think is actually really cool because you can, essentially have this running is different things and like different variations. I don't know an exact use case where that would actually make sense, but I do think that feature is kind of cool to have. Something else that I'm also realizing is that this is my first dynamic mic. Normally, I am a condenser kind of guy. And I am just realizing how much more gain you need connected with an XLR cable to an interface to have the same audio output level as a regular condenser. Also, one thing to note with this microphone is that the features with USB-C, the mute button, the gain knob down below, and all of that, once you switch over to XLR, you lose those features. I realize I've been talking a fair bit already with the XLR connected in this untreated space, so let's jump back into the booth so we can really showcase how good this thing can be with a proper XLR connection. Now that we're in a treated environment, since we're in the booth and we have that XLR connection, let's run it through some paces here. First up, going through that proximity effect again, just one more time, getting real up close, seeing how that distorts my voice. How much of my bass is that pulling out, rather than once we get further back and just talk to it from a normal distance away. Sorry, I just hit the mic right there. It is something that should be noted. Again, as I said before, if you're really trying to go for that bassy effect, you want it to pull the bass out of you, getting closer to the microphone to kind of bring out that proximity effect is a really good way to do it. Now, for me personally, the proximity effect doesn't really mean much to me because I'm either streaming or chatting on Discord with friends, or I am recording voiceover, whether it be auditions, narration, things, the character work, things like that, where it doesn't really make too much sense to have the proximity effect for me because I feel it distorts my voice a little too much. Plus, I'm personally just a little too afraid of accidentally peaking and then ruining a nice take that could have otherwise been good, so I usually just avoid it. Anyways, time to sing a little ditty. There was a time when I thought no one could relate to the gruesome ways in which I'm damaged. But letting walls down, it can sometimes set you straight. We're all living in the same shit sandwich. 'Cause baby, you're like lightning in a bottle. I can't let you go now that I've got it. And all I need is to be struck by your electric love. Baby, your electric love. Electric love. Now that we have gotten sufficient evidence of how this thing performs with both USB and XLR, let's jump to a competitor. This is the Samson Meteor. It is a USB cardioid microphone, and it runs for about $50 when it's not on sale, so it's a little over $20 cheaper than the Fifine. Now, for something that is still a cheap, budget-friendly USB microphone, I think the quality of it isn't too terrible. I don't think it's a noticeably bad microphone, so to speak. This was one of the highest recommendation USB mics when I was shopping around for USB mics years ago, and so I think it still can hold its own against most USB mics out there. And now that we're moving away from the Fifine, which is the core of this video, I do want to try to be a little efficient with these comparisons. I'm not necessarily comparing the features of these other microphones, more just the audio quality of them. So hopefully I'm giving you guys a good raw audio sample of what an untreated area would sound like with this microphone. Let's just quickly jump right into the booth so I can get you guys some adequate samples there for comparison. Just like with the Fifine, I want to showcase the proximity effect of this microphone. So as I'm getting closer to it and it's trying to pull that bass out of me, I apologize for any plosives here, just take a listen to how my voice is sounding a little different now that I'm much closer, much right up against this microphone as opposed to now that I'm back to a general recording distance. It should be pulling the bassiness out of my voice a little more, but again, with a cheaper microphone like this one, I'm not sure how strong that proximity effect will even be. Just want to put it through its paces here, just like we did with the other microphone, so you can see directly how something that's a little bit cheaper and USB only will compare. All right. Time to sing. Yay. There was a time when I thought no one could relate to the gruesome ways in which I'm damaged. But setting walls down, it can sometimes set you straight. We're all living in the same shit sandwich. Baby, you're like lightning in a bottle. I can't let you go now that I've got it. And all I need is to be struck by your electric love. Baby, your electric love. Electric love. All right, now officially moving away from USB mics and into XLR mics, we have the TZ Stellar X2. Now this goes for about $200, so it's a little more than double the price of the Fifine, so keep that in mind. But this is actually the first XLR mic that I ever owned. So when I moved away from USB officially into an XLR and audio interface setup, this was the microphone that I purchased. If you followed me for a bit or watched some of my older streams, you may have seen this mic before because it used to be my mainstay for just about everything. Since then, I have upgraded to its big brother, the Stellar X3, and I mean, it's just such a beefy microphone. Like, look at how big that thing is. I personally have a soft spot in my heart for this microphone, and fun fact, this was the microphone that I first started booking paid gigs with, so take it as you will. Again, in the name of efficiency, I think in explaining the history with this microphone, I've given you a decent audio sample for what an untreated sound space is going to provide, so let's jump into the booth. Something I do like to say and just reiterate a lot of times when I'm talking about microphones and their quality is that even the best microphone will sound terrible in a bad recording space. So having a homemade booth like this is so much better than just having nothing or just setting it up in your desk or your dorm room or wherever you end up being and just hoping that buying a really expensive microphone will cancel out the subpar recording environment you have. So seriously, invest in a nice recording environment. This whole build, I think I mentioned this earlier in the video, the whole build cost only about $400, which can be a lot if you're on a budget. I have built it for cheaper with different materials. I just had the ability to upgrade, and so I did. All right, time for the proximity effect. So right now we're at the normal about 6 inches recording space that you typically will be at with a microphone, but as I start to get closer and closer, it should be pulling that bassiness out of my voice again. Of course, I have a voice crack as soon as that happens. That is just so on brand for me. I'm going to now just go back and back until I'm back to that normal recording distance, so you guys can see that transition again from the bassiness of the proximity effect back down to the normalcy of just a standard distance. Just hit the mic stand right there, so I apologize if you heard that. All right, I think it's time that I should be singing again. Let's do it. There was a time when I thought no one could relate to the gruesome ways in which I'm damaged. But letting walls down, it can sometimes set you straight. We're all living in the same shit sandwich. 'Cause baby, you're like lightning in a bottle. I can't let you go now that I've got it. And all I need is to be struck by your electric love. Baby, you're electric love. Electric love. I'm going to be completely honest. I 100% went into this video thinking that I was now going to transition over to the Stellar X3, but in hindsight, I think it's a lot better to give you the Fifine with the USB, the Fifine with the XLR, and then a USB that's a little below that price range and an XLR that's above that price range. I don't think going to a $350 microphone is going to really do too much else if you're mainly considering the Fifine, which I would assume you would be if this video is about the Fifine. So I'm going to nix that part of the video and really just jump back to talking about the Fifine microphone now that we've adequately compared it to two other options that could be in the lower or upper end of your budget depending on what you're really looking for. In my personal opinion, and just take it with a grain of salt because it's my personal opinion here, I think that this mic is perfectly adequate for 99% of use cases. If you're looking for a better mic than your headset for streaming and talking to your friends on Discord, if you're trying to start a podcast, or if you want to get into voice work, but you're not too sure of if you really want to fully commit, this with the USB-C option is fantastic. It gives you a lot for the money, and if you ever wanted to upgrade your audio equipment in the future to go to a full XLR setup, like I said earlier, having the XLR cable as well in this thing, it makes it really easy for you to transition without needing to drop a lot of money to do so. I hope this video was able to help you make an informed decision on what your next microphone will be and if the Fifine K688 is right for you. If you did enjoy the style of this video and would like to see more in the future, please consider subscribing. It certainly helps, and I would very much appreciate it if some of you guys stuck around for my audio content. Either way, I hope you guys tune in next time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, evening, whatever your time zone says it is. Peace out.